Hey everyone, it's Carissa at Sprinkled with Glitter. Thanks for joining me today. Today over on the My Favorite Things YouTube channel, I'm sharing a video tutorial and I'm using these products here. This is the gift card greeting stamp set along with the gift card window and frame dies and the gift card pouch here. And while I was creating that card for the My Favorite Things YouTube channel, I was inspired to create the card that I'm sharing here. So you can kind of have a little sneak peek of it over there on the left. I'm also going to be using some of those same products on today's project here. And I have all of the products listed in the description at YouTube as well as over at my blog. I'm also using that wish die, and the eye of that is a candle instead of an eye. And I'm using these banner dies from the vertical hearts in a row. Those are from the January release, and everything else is the new products from the February release. Now I have a bunch of different colors, actually not a bunch, it's 4. I have 4 colors of like pool or teal colored cardstocks that I'm going to be cutting this wish die from. So I'm going to go ahead and just stack those up and send it through my Gemini Junior to get my die cutting going. Now, I wasn't planning on making this card when I first started die cutting, so I wasn't paying attention to where I was placing that wish die onto my little strip there. But as it went on, I thought, wow, that would make a really cool card if I stacked them all up. So here is what I ended up doing. I did go back and re-die cut all of these wish wish strips, I guess, out of the different colors of cardstock. And I cut them all to 2 inches wide because I found that that was about the right size. And I'm going to position the wish die on the lightest color of cardstock and hold it in place with some delicate surface painter's tape. I'm going to hold it in place on both sides, and then I'm going to take the next darkest color of cardstock and place it behind it, and I'm going to send it through my die cut machine. Now I'm using the Gemini Junior, but you can use whatever die cut machine you prefer. And in order to build the sandwich for the Gemini Junior, I'm starting with my clear cutting plate. Then I have my plastic shim, my magnetic shim, and a second clear cutting plate, and then I just send that through. And you can see I've cut through both layers of those papers there. And I'm just getting all of the die cuts out of that negative space because I'm going to keep the die in the negative space, and I'm going to add the next color of cardstock right behind that, leaving that die in place, and I'm going to cut it again. So I'm keeping all of the die cuts in the same place because this makes it easier when I go to line them up and stack them up. I don't have anything sticking out of the top. So you can see when I get everything cut here, I have this beautiful ombre effect. Now I used the positive portion on the other card that I created, but I thought it would be great to use this negative portion. So I'm going to stack these up, but I'm going to offset them slightly so that I get that ombre effect, and it almost creates kind of like it's blurred out a little bit. I hope you'll be able to see what I'm talking about in the finished project photos, but I thought this was a really fun way to use this die cut. So in order to adhere these together, I'm just using my Zig 2A glue pen, and I'm making sure that I go onto all of those little pieces that are sticking out, like the inner parts of the W and the H's, so that I get good adherence so that it's all stuck together really well. Now I thought I would just use 3 colors, but I decided that it needed the darkest color as well, and I used that darkest color on the original card project that I created. But like I said, I thought I would only use the 3 here, and I decided I wanted the darkest color. Now, it would have been easiest if I would have made up my mind for that in the very beginning, but I didn't. So I cut this like a teensy bit smaller than 2 inches, and I'm doing something really super scientific here. I'm guesstimating where I should put this die, and I'm just kind of putting it right towards the middle. I do have a little wiggle room like side to side, but not as much wiggle room up and down. So I'm just being careful to put this right in the center of that 2-inch strip, or a little less than 2-inch strip of darkest color cardstock. And before I send it through my die cut machine, I'm putting a piece of craft foam behind it so that I can cut the craft foam and that cardstock all at once. And you can see that it cut right through both of those layers with no problem. And I'm going to use that craft foam on the back to give it some nice sturdy and even dimension. Now, when I ran the craft foam through the die cut machine, it got a little weird in that W. It kind of was all stretched out. And in order to keep from having to align that perfectly, I just cut that middle part off. So now I'm going back with my liquid glue once again, and I'm adhering this stack onto the darkest color. Now, if I was smart, I would have cut this down as I added each layer, but I'm not smart. So if you're going to do this, cut after each addition of each layer of cardstock. This was able to cut through, but I did not get the cleanest cut through all of these layers of cardstock. So if I was going to do it again, I would add the 2 layers together, cut it down, add another layer, cut it down, and so on and so forth. And you could really add as many colors as you wanted. You could even make a rainbow effect with this as well. To adhere the craft foam onto the back of this stack of cardstock, I just used a little tape runner adhesive, and now I'm going to kind of play with my layout a little bit, and I'm going to use these gift card greetings stamps here. These are from the My Favorite Things February release, and this says a great big happy birthday. I'm going to cut this stamp right down the center between those 2 words. I just cut off a great big, so it just says happy birthday. And I'm going to white heat emboss it onto this black banner strip that I created using those vertical hearts in a row dies. So I've gone ahead and prepped the surface of my cardstock using my powder tool there. I stamped my sentiment in Versamark ink onto that strip. Then I added my white embossing powder and I heat set that. And this is going to give it some really cool contrast. It just makes for a really nice pop. And I love that this card is really a great masculine card. Now I'm going to play with things here, and I tried it with a little bit of gold glitter cardstock behind it. I tried it with the darker cardstock behind it, and in the end I ended up just putting it onto my white card base. But while I was thinking about it, because sometimes I think about it and I move on to another part of the card, but while I was thinking about it, I went ahead and adhered that sentiment strip over that negative die cut ombre portion that I created, and I added that on with a little bit of foam adhesive there. Now in the end, I did decide to add just a little bit of gold cardstock behind that eye, so I adhered it with some strong liquid adhesive. And then I'm going to take that same strong liquid adhesive. This is the Tombow Mono Multi-Glue. I put it all over the back, and then I'm going to use my T-square ruler to make sure that I get it straight onto my card front. And for my card base today, I'm using the Essentials by Ellen linen cardstock. I cut it to 4 1/4 by 11, and then I scored it at 5.5 inches to create a top folding A2 size card. And I just think the linen texture on this cardstock really adds something to this clean and simple card. I finished off my card by adding some sequins. If you were giving this to a man, maybe you don't want to add the sequins, but I think anyone is fair game to receive sequins when they're receiving a handmade card from me. And then I finished it off with a little bit of a natural colored twine that has a little bit of gold metallic threading through it. And that finishes off my card for today. So it has this really cool stacked ombre die cut element, which I just think is so cool. And I don't know if you can tell here, but when you look at it, it almost looks like it's a little bit blurred out. It's kind of hard to see it in the pictures, but in real life, it creates a really cool effect. And you can see that little bit of gold glitter cardstock peeking out from behind the candle, which I think is really fun too. As always, I will have links to the featured supplies in the description at YouTube, but head on over to my blog at sprinkledwithglitter.com because there you'll find more still shots, more information, and a complete list of supplies. Thanks for stopping by today. I hope you enjoyed this project. If you did, be sure to give this video a thumbs up and don't forget to share it with a friend who you think may also enjoy it, and subscribe to my channel so you don't miss any of my paper crafting video tutorials. Thanks for stopping by, and until next time, I hope you have a fabulous day. Once again, I want to thank you for watching. If you want to subscribe to my channel, go ahead and hit that button on the left. And here's a couple more videos I thought you might enjoy.